The B-2 has just received an upgrade that changes the way we see this aircraft. For decades, people believed they understood what made the B-2 Spirit so powerful: its flying wing design, its radar-absorbing coating, its ability to virtually disappear from enemy radar screens. Those qualities made the B-2 one of the most mysterious aircraft ever built. But what if I told you that today, this bomber's greatest advantage isn't its stealth? In fact, one of its latest upgrades didn't make it less detectable. It made it much harder to stop. Because modern warfare has exposed a problem that even the most advanced stealth aircraft can't ignore. And that problem has just 3 letters: GPS. For years, precision-guided weapons have relied almost entirely on satellite navigation. Jam the signal, spoof it, or simply make GPS unavailable. And even the most accurate munitions can lose much of their effectiveness. That's why every major military power is investing heavily in electronic warfare capabilities. The United States, China, Russia. The era of unquestioned GPS superiority is gradually coming to an end. And that meant America's most expensive bomber had to learn a new way to fight. And that's exactly what happened. When the B-2 entered service in the early 1990s, it looked like something straight out of the future. Its radar cross-section was so small that the aircraft could remain virtually invisible to most radar systems. It was built to penetrate the most heavily defended enemy airspace. But the world has changed dramatically since then. Modern air defense systems have become much faster, sensors have become far more advanced, and electronic warfare has become one of the defining elements of modern conflict. Today, stealth alone is no longer enough. An aircraft must also be able to complete its mission in an environment where satellite navigation may disappear entirely. That challenge led to one of the most significant upgrades in the B-2's history. Instead of relying entirely on GPS, the aircraft can now use its own radar to generate extremely precise target coordinates. Think about that for a moment. Its radar no longer just searches for targets. It now helps replace part of the navigation system itself. During flight, the B-2 creates a highly detailed radar image of the terrain below. Its onboard computers then compare that image with digital maps to determine the most precise weapon release point possible. And all of this can work even if GPS is completely jammed or unavailable. That means the aircraft can still deliver precision strikes in environments where other aircraft may lose much of their effectiveness. At first glance, this might sound like just another software update. But in reality, it's an entirely new approach to modern warfare. The question used to be, what happens if GPS stops working? Now the question is, what if we don't need GPS at all? And that's a huge difference. Today, nearly every major military views jamming satellite navigation as one of the first steps in a large-scale conflict. The B-2 was upgraded for exactly that kind of battlefield. And this is far from the only improvement hidden inside the aircraft. The computers installed in the first B-2S were designed during the final years of the Cold War. Imagine trying to run today's software on a computer from the late 1980s. Sooner or later, the hardware becomes the biggest limitation. That's why engineers almost completely redesigned the aircraft's computing architecture. Old processors were replaced with modern ones. Outdated data connections gave way to high-speed fiber optic networks. New mission computers dramatically increased processing power. And modern software made it possible to integrate new precision-guided weapons and capabilities that would have been impossible just a few decades ago. The aircraft's radar has also undergone major improvements. Even its earliest versions were considered among the most advanced in the world. But recent upgrades have expanded its capabilities even further. It can now operate in new search and targeting modes while remaining as difficult as possible for enemy electronic surveillance systems to detect. In other words, the B-2 doesn't just hide from enemy radar. Even its own radar is designed to reveal as little as possible about the aircraft's location. That's one of the greatest engineering challenges in modern military aviation. Which raises an obvious question. If the United States has already developed the new B-21 Raider, why continue investing billions of dollars in the B-2? The answer is actually quite simple. Replacing a strategic bomber doesn't happen overnight. The B-21 is only beginning to enter operational service. There are still years of production, crew training, and squadron activation ahead. Until then, the B-2 remains one of the most important pillars of America's strategic bomber force. That's why it isn't being retired. Instead, it continues to receive major upgrades. This also explains why, after Operation Midnight Hammer, military analysts started talking less about stealth technology. Instead, the conversation shifted to mission planning, navigation, electronic warfare, precision targeting. Because in modern warfare, simply reaching the target isn't enough. The real challenge is finding it, identifying its exact location, and delivering a precise strike while the enemy is actively trying to blind your sensors and disrupt your systems. That's exactly the kind of battlefield the latest B-2 upgrades were designed for. Perhaps the most remarkable part is that almost none of these improvements are visible from the outside. Place a modern B-2 next to one that flew 20 years ago, and most people would never notice the difference. The same flying wing, the same engines, the same unmistakable silhouette. But inside, it's almost an entirely different aircraft. New computers, new software, new communication systems, improved defensive capabilities, more advanced mission planning, and far more precise weapon targeting. The world's most famous stealth bomber didn't just become harder to detect, it became much smarter. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. Modern military superiority doesn't always come from building an entirely new aircraft. Sometimes the smarter move is to take an existing platform and upgrade it so extensively that it essentially gets a second life. The B-2 has been in service for more than 3 decades, yet it continues to receive upgrades that keep it among the most capable strategic bombers in the world. Not because its shape has changed, but because its brain has. And perhaps that's the most valuable weapon in modern warfare. If you enjoyed learning how one of the world's most secretive military aircraft continues to evolve, don't forget to hit the like button. Let me know in the comments. Do you think the B-2 Spirit will remain one of America's most dangerous bombers for years to come? Or will the B-21 Raider replace it sooner than expected? And if you enjoy videos about cutting-edge military technology, aviation, and the innovations shaping the future of warfare, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.